Shalom, and welcome again for another exciting edition of the Torah Watchman Show International, hosted by yours truly, Hakam Ya'ara ben-Emmett. To everyone out there, good Yom Tov for Shavuot. What do you know about Shavuot? Well, traditionally, going back a little bit of time, Rabbi Hillel, very famous for our Passover Seder meal, that a tradition for that for Ashkenazi Jews. But anyway, the Chabadniks created their own tradition for this holiday. The word Shavuot does not even occur in the Torah, first of all, and the dating of it is ambiguous at best in our Hebrew calendar. However, if you listen to most rabbis, every rabbinate out there, they'll tell you very clearly, it's about the end game of counting 49 days of the Omer. Again, Omer is worth about 43, the weight of 43 eggs, more or less. It's actually between, I guess, 3.5 to about 4 pounds, the way that measurement was rendered back in the time of Moshe. So if you ask any rabbi about Shavuot, Shavuot means that we celebrate the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai. However, if you read the Torah astutely, like all the Karaites do around the world, they found something very specific. There's a huge discrepancy between what the Talmud says, like Rabbi Hillel and others, among Chabad and Ashkenazi, and so on. There's a huge discrepancy in this. Now, I'm going to read from you Exodus 19:1, and the verse is behind me. So essentially it says, on the third new moon, actually Rosh Chodesh, third new moon essentially means for us 3 months has transpassed. After the Israelites left Egypt, they finally arrived in their long journey, going across the King's Highway, across the Sinai Peninsula, going across the Port of Aqaba. That's actually where they crossed the Red Sea, despite what other people have said in the past, to enter the mountainous range along the western coast of Saudi Arabia. You heard me right. Mount Horeb, the land of Midian, and of course Mount Sinai, where God would appear before the Israelites. This is where Moshe would ascend up the mountain, and he would retrieve the 10 Commandments. Now, again, consider how much time it takes to go across the entire land bridge, like Sinai Peninsula, all the way to Saudi Arabia, going to an ancient community or city, Amalekite city, Rephidim, which is actually, many people think it's actually the ancient name of the area of Midian, is known in Saudi Arabia as Al-Bad, I believe. But anyway, you think about that huge journey of all these people, 600,000 men, roughly about 2 million people, that huge journey going all across that. Can you do that by foot or donkey cart in 49 days? Sounds a little bit ridiculous. Well, thankfully, God spoke very astutely in the Torah about the length of this. First of all, we have 3 months of time, okay? That length of time it took for them to even get to the outer plains, to the mountain steeps of Mount Sinai, okay? So how long did it take for Moshe to retrieve the 10 Commandments to come down? Remember, there's a lot of worry and consternation of the children of Israel that when Moshe went up to the mountain and beheld the image of God, the face of God, he would die. And they thought he died. And they said, hey, Moshe, his God took him. He's not coming back. Well, it took 40 days for him to come down the mountain. So you add all this time together, you have 90 days plus 40 more days, and it ends up that it wasn't until 50 days later that actually the Israelites could behold the 10 Commandments, okay? Now, I thought this was very interesting How many of you read the Torah astutely? Or Christians out there of B'nai Noach read your Old Testament Bible astutely, and apart from listening to some rabbi, in the Talmud, saying you will believe this, etc., etc., but God says something else to be true. On the other hand, you flip the coin, and the rabbi says something else. It's confusing. It's very confusing. Now, I want to extend benefit of doubt to Rabbi Hillel. He's not here to defend himself, and I'm not making any accusation. So we have a quandary here, and it is up to you how you want to conclude this video. What you think? What is your feedback? So, did Rabbi Hillel intentionally mislead the Jewish people into thinking that at the end of 49 days of counting Omer, that that the Ten Commandments of Moshe went up to the mountain and came back and presented the Ten Commandments? Shavuot, for every Jew in the world, except for Karaites at least, they are celebrating the Torah. They're reading the Torah all night, all day, as much as they can. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing to read the Torah during any kind of holiday. I encourage that. Read the Torah daily. Read it, read it. Read your Tanakh. Read from the Navim, the sacred writings. Read it day and night whenever you can. But it's not halakha to do this on the holiday of Shavuot. Okay? Yes, you hear me saying it. And many people say, who are you, Hakam Yar ben-Emmett, or whatever you call yourself, a Karaite Jew? Well, incidentally, in Uganda, these so-called rabbinical council that they have right there, and there's rabbinical councils in every part of the world, they have nominated me year after year, every year, to give me a license of ordination to be their rabbi. Yes, I'm at that point where people call me rabbi in Uganda. Okay? It doesn't matter what you think what a rabbinical council may be, or the people that make the decisions, like in DC in America, and all the challenges and ordination, going to yeshiva and everything else. And yes, I've attended yeshiva, but I'm saying I have some authority in saying this. But listen, don't shoot the messenger. Go to the book of Exodus, read chapter 19, verse 1, and use a simple calculator. You know, third new moon, Rosh Chodesh, consecutively is 90 days, right? That's longer than 49 days. Plus the 40 days that it took for Moshe to go up to the mountain and come down, that's 40 days and 40 nights. That's actually 50 days altogether. So that's way out of range of what the rabbis have claimed, since the Middle Ages at least, for why we celebrate the holiday of Shavuot. It's a grain holiday. It's a pilgrimage holiday. We should be celebrating this living in the land of Israel, but unfortunately, there are 50 million Jews, a very small minority of all the Jewry in the world actually live in Israel. The greatest population of Jews is in America, and the Bronx and New York City and Crown Heights and Borough Park. It is what it is. And many of those Jews plan to live out the rest of their days, to be buried in the United States, like the Rebbe wanted to be buried in Bronx and everything else, and they're not really concerning themselves too much with the affairs of Israel. Some people, they want to be buried in a Mount of Olives after they die in another country. It is what it is. But was this an intentional miscalculation by the Chabadniks and the rabbis, or was this an accident? Okay, you do not, folks. You do not take the Lord's name in vain. You do not take the Holy Bible, the Jewish Bible. You don't take it and then modify and alter it in another book, another sacred writing, and say this is an amendment to the halakha that God gave Moses exclusively to give to the Jewish people for all generations. You do not take the Lord's name in vain. You will not add or subtract anything to the Torah. But in my estimation, my humble opinion, the rabbinists did it again. And I don't know why I didn't notice this last year, but I wanted to bring this to your attention so you can think about it. Who do you believe? I'm not asking you to believe what I'm telling you. Just read the good book. Read Exodus chapter 19, verse 1. Read it astutely, logically. It's black and white. It's not difficult. It's not, you don't need a secret decoder ring to figure out what God was saying. God bless you. Shalom Aleichem. Hakam Ya'ar ben-Emmett signing out. Till the next time.
If you've enjoyed this program, please click like and subscribe.